tape starts on its own. I didn't press play. My hand was still on the kettle, 4 feet from the recorder, and the little red light clicked on like something had breathed on it. Junie's voice comes out first, laughing. The laugh that made strangers turn around in restaurants. "Dahlia, you're not really leaving. I am listening to a conversation that hasn't happened yet." It's the Corville room 3 years back. Junie always picked the Corville room. She liked the noise, the men who bought her drinks she never finished, the way a whole bar seemed to lean toward her without meaning to. I liked corners. I liked watching. That night there were 2 men at our table who hadn't been invited. Wade first, then his friend Tobin, sliding in like they'd always been sitting there. Wade kept touching the back of my chair. Not me, the chair, like he was deciding something. The air in that room had gone thick, the way it does right before weather turns, though nobody else at the table seemed to feel the drop. I found myself counting the exits without deciding to count them. Junie didn't notice. Junie never noticed the room going wrong around her because the room never went wrong around her, only around me. I told her I had a headache, a lie so small it barely counted. 10 more minutes, she said, and put her hand flat on my arm and smiled the smile that always worked on everyone else in the world and had stopped working on me around the 2nd year of knowing her. I left anyway. She didn't follow me to the door. She didn't even watch me go. I checked from the sidewalk through the glass. She'd already turned back to Wade, already laughing again. That laugh landing on somebody else's night instead of mine. I remember thinking I could disappear from this exact spot, and it would take her days to notice the shape missing from the room. I was wrong about that. It took less than a day. But that isn't the part that frightens me now. What frightens me is this tape, humming in an empty kitchen, playing her voice from that night in a room I never recorded, saying my name before I've said anything at all. I went to her apartment the next morning, told myself it was to apologize for the headache, for the lie, for leaving her at that table like a coat nobody claimed. That wasn't why I went. Junie made tea without asking if I wanted any. She always did that, decided things for both of us, and somehow made it feel generous. I watched her set 2 cups down. I watched myself put something into one of them, and some part of me still insists I only watched, the way you watch weather happen through a window. She drank it in 4 sips, still talking. Something about Wade calling her twice already. Something about how she almost felt bad for men like that. Her voice got slower around the 3rd sip. By the 5th, she wasn't finishing her sentences. I want to say I panicked. I want to say some part of me tried to stop what came after. What actually happened is quieter than that, and worse. I felt calm. Calmer than I had in 3 years of sitting in corners while she stood in light. The water ran a long time, longer than it needed to. I sat on the closed lid of the toilet while it ran, listening to the pipes tick as they warmed, feeling nothing so much as very still, very far away. A woman watching her own hands work through glass. I don't remember deciding to leave her in the bath. I remember deciding precisely and without hurry what came after that. The tarp from under the sink, the bags meant for garden clippings, the particular quiet of a bathroom at 10 in the morning with the radio still playing in the next room, like nothing unusual was happening in this one. I finished before noon. That night, alone in my own kitchen, I found the recorder in a drawer I hadn't opened in years. I don't know why I turned it on. I told myself I wanted to hear her voice one more time, on my own terms, in a room she'd never actually been in. The tape was already 3 minutes in when I pressed play, already past the part where I would have started recording. Her voice mid-laugh, mid-sentence, already answering something I hadn't asked yet. They found her behind the clinic on the 2nd day. A janitor, 2 blue bags, a smell he'd remember for the rest of his life. I read that detail in the paper like it belonged to somebody else's winter. The detective, a tired, careful man named Holloway, came to see me twice. Both times I made him coffee. Both times my hands did not shake, which frightened me more than shaking would have. He liked Wade for it first. Wade and Tobin, the men from the Corville room, the ones with a record for moving pills across county lines, and someone claimed, a grudge against a girl who'd laughed at the wrong moment. I made an anonymous call myself, just to help that theory along. It felt less like lying and more like tidying. Wade cried when they showed him photographs. Actually cried, the kind that clears a man of things. Holloway crossed him off within a week. I should have been afraid then. Instead, I went home and played the tape again. It had grown, not longer. I checked the counter. The little mechanical numbers hadn't changed, but fuller somehow, like a held note deepening. Junie's laugh, then water running. Then, underneath both, so quiet I had to hold my breath to catch it. My own voice, saying something I would only say 3 days later to Holloway across my kitchen table, when he asked me, almost gently, almost as an afterthought, whether Junie had ever mentioned being afraid of me. No, I told him, never. On the tape recorded who knows when, I'd already said it. Same words, same flat, careful voice. A performance I hadn't rehearsed yet, already finished, already sitting in a drawer for years, waiting for me to catch up to it. I stopped sleeping after that. I kept a jar in the bathroom, small glass, hidden behind the cleaning supplies. 2 things in it that used to belong to Junie. I told myself I'd get rid of them. I never got the chance. Holloway's partner brought his daughter along one afternoon. A work visit gone informal, a bored child wandering while the adults talked upstairs. She used my bathroom. She saw something gold catching light at the bottom of the bowl. She was 7. She didn't know what she was looking at. She only knew to tell her father. They searched the house on a Tuesday, found the jar within the hour, found the rest of it not long after. Things I thought I'd buried well enough, things I hadn't buried at all, just hidden the way you hide something from yourself more than from anyone looking. I told Holloway everything, the tea, the bath, the bags, all of it in order, in a voice that didn't shake even now. He asked why. I could see him deciding whether to accept the easy answer. Detectives like easy answers. They close a file faster. I said envy because it was the only word small enough to fit in a police report. 3 years of watching a room turn toward her and away from me. 3 years of being the friend people were relieved to also have. It sounded true enough when I said it. It even felt true for the length of a breath. That's not the whole answer, I know that now. Here is the part I never told him. The part I'm only telling this recorder tonight, in a room with the door locked and the lights on. Before they took the recorder into evidence, I opened the back panel, the way you do when a machine keeps behaving wrong. I wanted to see the wiring. I wanted to see something ordinary enough to explain what I'd been hearing. There was a service sticker inside, half peeled. The kind repair shops leave behind, smudged but legible if you tilted it under the light the way I did. Hands shaking now for the first time since any of this began. A date? 9 years before I bought the thing secondhand at a church sale. 9 years before Junie and I had even met. 9 years before either of us existed in each other's lives at all. And still, somehow already humming with her laugh, waiting in a drawer, keeping the exact shape of a night that hadn't happened yet. I don't think I killed her because I was jealous. I think I was cast. Somewhere in a room I've never seen, this scene has already finished playing. And something is still deciding who gets the next part. I used to think a confession was something you finished. The tape starts on its own.